Hierapolis. There's not much left. It's just rubble and rocks. You let the grass grow, you won't even know it's here. This is the opening, 5th century AD, into the ancient city of Hierapolis from the south gate. You can see how they traveled back in the past, maybe an hour ago. Pretty funny. The theater, and that's actually really far away. We've been here before. There's quite a bit. It's mostly ruins now. There's huge earthquakes that came through, plus pilferage. And we'll even see a modern day crane moving blocks. And then back in the day, they obviously didn't have those, well, at least gas powered. This has been around for almost 2,000 years and been destroyed a couple times. Then we have some columns over here that would have been to some sort of temple or gymnasium, possibly a Nymphaeum they call them. Hierapolis, the theater of Hierapolis. Just the remnants. A lot of sarcophagi. There's a lot of former people buried up that way. We're walking down the path towards the north gate at Hierapolis. There's nobody around at all. We have the place to ourselves over here. Just the ghosts of 2,000 years past. Hierapolis is nothing but rubble. And you can see remnants of the past. Everywhere we look, it's just rubble. There's nothing left. The great earthquakes really tore this place apart. This is Hierapolis of Phrygia. This is a Roman bath from the 1st century AD, what's left of it. Let's go see if we could have a bath up here real quick. These rocks have eroded very differently than rocks from other sites too. That's what's unique about Hierapolis. Why are these so different and the erosion so different? Were they above ground for that long and they just took harder erosion than other places? Because none of this is marble. Or maybe this is what marble looks like after 15 to 1700 years of being exposed to weather. And it can snow up here, but rare. This is really cool, actually. This is really interesting. So if this is a Roman bath, this was gigantic bath. Oh my gosh. This is huge. This is expansive. I didn't realize it was this big just standing down below. There's always more over the rise. It's just huge. I'm guessing maybe that could have been a well. Maybe. I'm up kind of high. I'm thinking, no, you know what? That might be a chimney. I think I'm standing on a roof. You can see the water, gullies, gutters. They're everywhere. I think what we're seeing is a pretty accurate layout. I don't think these rocks are moved a whole lot. Although this area over here looks like these were laid out on purpose recently, 100 years or so. What's up on top of this, so I get my finger, this looks recent. I think that might have been a gate, but it looks like they repiled that back up. I'm sure that was flattened. This is just a monstrous area. We're standing up in Hierapolis on top of, well, I thought it was just a mound, but I think we're on top of a room. I thought this might have been a well, but realistically, I think it's a chimney to vent smoke, because I see it in a few other areas. Over here, there's one over here. that looks like this was also a sauna release or smoke, possibly smoke houses. This is just absolutely massive here. Here's something here, but that might have just been a statue possibly to show where to go for what baths to go in. When they said large Roman bath, I had no idea they meant super huge large Roman bath. This looks like it might have been the spa. We were just standing up top there. This might have been filled in. This probably went a lot deeper than the spa. At least that's what we think it is. They would have had springs. The water back then probably would have been more. You can see, walk along these gutters here. This would have been, again, probably way deeper. And we see the circle. This was, who knows, maybe it was even just a bath, a dipping well. Oh, here's another one. So they probably had different waters in here. You want to be careful. I'm walking up somewhat high. What looks like a sarcophagus in the middle, but nope, it's not deep enough. That was a watering area. And you could see that this walled area might have been all water through here. It's really hard to know. But the walls are very solid. They're decently wide. You can see by my feet. They're not too narrow. Just don't want to step too far to one side or the other. There's some cool marble pieces laying around. Again, the architecture of this is different. Very different. I got a feeling I'm looking at it upside down. Maybe it should be this way. And I'm wondering if this was an enclosed area. Actually, that architecture for that column is what we saw in the video that I'll leave linked in the description to the Temple of Apollo, except the Temple of Apollo was probably 20 times bigger than that. That is only about 16, 18 inches across. The one at Temple of Apollo was a good 3 feet or more. Let's keep walking down the gutter. It's a decent path. Let's see what we see. Just remnants and ruins. Wow. It's hard to even use your imagination as to what this looked like. Again, with the big earthquakes that hit here, it just destroyed everything. Well, it looks like an old pot. An interesting piece of history. What looks like a very thick vase bowl. That looks like it was supposed to be in there. I don't know who lifted that, but maybe it was just ceremonial. But you can see standing in this, what's left of it at Hierapolis. There's probably walls here. I just don't know if there's roofs over this. Interesting to know. Let's walk along some of the wall here. And again, we don't know how much farther down some of the stuff goes. Here's it looks like a pedestal in the middle, but you don't know if that was there or added. That wall looks like it's fairly modern, put back together. I think we're coming up on a bigger dig area. All right, so coming to the end of this building. Let's see what the sign says. Maybe it'll tell us a little bit more. So it was Same sign, it's a large Roman bath. There was a lot, the map is long gone. But just incredible, incredible structures this had to be. Here we can see by the large bath at Hierapolis, it looks like they covered over quite a bit of it. It looks like a face and what looks like some kind of aquatic creature, maybe a whale or a fish. They're kind of inland, so that would be in, and of course, modern day cement covering it over, but who knows what was in there. And then we could see the strata of the rock that this was dug out quite a bit. Just imagine that being so beautiful. It's probably covered with the mosaics as they usually did, possibly marble. And then this great large Roman bath that we just came out of. This is something different. I've not seen this anywhere. Here's a column that's smooth, then with the flute cuts. That is very unique. I've not seen that anywhere where they just partially cut it. So maybe they didn't finish the cuts, but I got a feeling this is purposeful. So this indicated something. Maybe it was a special opening to the bath. And as far as I can see, there's nothing even close to it. But just again, ruins, ruins, and ruins. So as I'm looking at the strata here, that is, I'm reaching up, it's probably about 9 to 10 feet down where I'm standing. And this was all excavated out, and I got a feeling there's probably a wall here. Oh, I see more of the column with the flutes cuts. So there's another piece. This whole area might have been covered. I see base of a foundation here. So maybe that's the original base. Looking at these rocks, they've been well worn. And again, with earthquakes, these would have been just pushed all over the place. And as you can see, we're coming up on another unique structure here that was pretty big. All right, let's investigate this a little bit. It's just a wall for now. But as we come up over the wall, we see what might have been a room. Obviously a room, but what kind of room? Was it maybe just one big shop? Was it something special? Interesting. Again, every area you go to is just so uniquely different, and you just don't always know right away what it was meant for, because the peoples that built there were just a little bit different than the ones before them, the ones after them, and where they actually came from. This area, I'm curious. There's a wall, and of course, I want to know what's on the other side of the wall. Let's see what we can do about climbing up here. And I'm still not tall enough. Let's keep climbing up higher and higher and higher. A little bit more, and wow, this looks like a collapsed wall that was probably standing right where I'm looking through. And that would be a whole nother room. And the reason I know that area that has all fallen down came from here is because look how high it went. And then look what's here. And again, I see more excavation out there, rows and rows. They probably dug all kinds of pits, trying to figure out where everything was. And there would have been columns here, which tells me there's probably statues somewhere along here where I'm standing. I'm gonna come down this way because it looks like a pretty good jump from down there. So interesting. So I'm standing up a good 4 feet up from that level, and I'm looking at a wall, and I see how high up it goes, and I'm wondering where'd the wall go? Well, we found that out pretty easy just by looking here. The wall fell, and it just fell right there, just went straight down, and there it lies today. They did not touch that or move that. All right, that's common sense. It says it just fell, and that's where it lies. One nice big earthquake, and boom, over it goes. And we'd see off in the distance, there's more diggings. There's, oh, this is just more. We thought we could cover this in maybe an hour, and this is just another week. We're just gonna keep moving down, keep going. So we'll have many parts of Hierapolis over the years on the channel. What we were actually standing in apparently was a fountain. Didn't feel like it while I was up there, but now that I look at this, it does and was. It's just all the wall pieces have been moved over time. That's the great mysteries of time. You just don't know. You look at that and look at this. Where is everything? And I showed you that wall that fell, but I think there was more that they took out. Got a feeling all this was knocked down from the earthquakes. And you can see it keeps going and going and going. This is a very big city. We're gonna cross through into the next section. This looks massive in here. I like to look at things on Google Earth before I come out to the area to see if I could recognize anything. And it gives you an idea on Google Earth, but it's nothing compared to when you're on the ground looking up at the walls and the pieces, because a lot of times you don't see the three-dimensional of it very clearly. This is the North Byzantine Gate. As we can see, what's left of it, there would have obviously been a lot more. There's several of these columns that indicate something important was down these ways. But what? Just basic houses, temples, businesses, politics, art. It's just everywhere, the same thing. Just meters and hundreds of meters as far down as it goes. This could have actually been a huge wall based on that fountain, and we're walking down a very deep corridor. If it was 1500, 1700 years ago, before the great earthquakes took it all down. I'm looking at these structures. These two are still standing. Then you can see remnants of them even more down here. And they just had to be huge walls. I think we were walking down a canyon of deep walls and incredible architecture. There's column remnants here that tells me this was really, really, really crazy big. And more ruins just as far as you can see. So here's more of the wall structures. It's on the left side as I walk. You can see the pieces in the middle, and then on the right, we can see the remnants of what was there. We see some fairly big columns with the caps up above. This had to be absolutely beautiful and amazing when it was in its heyday, a long time ago. My idea that it was a huge canyon of walls, I think was true. You can see the columns here more so. This is probably some kind of temple on the other side. And another main gate. So one of my questions that I always ask some of the guides when we go on is, where did they go to the bathroom? You got tens of thousands of people in an area. They had to go somewhere. They just didn't go in the street, hopefully. But here's a latrine. So we'll go take a look at an ancient latrine. I don't think this is modern toilet. So let's see what an ancient latrine looked like. So the ancient latrine, that's what it looked like. So we'd come in. Doesn't smell now, thank goodness, because I gotta imagine it's pretty nasty in here. But they probably had running water, what looks like through gutters. And then they probably had seats built up on here. And they probably had young boys running through cleaning. But this had to be very impressive back in the day. Just a couple hundred people going to the latrine in here. Kind of nasty when you think about it, but it's a basic human function. And these questions need answering, because if you don't have good sewage and good latrines, you're gonna have disease. And the Romans were really good at preventing disease between bathing and washing. So they knew how to do that. This was a very good sewage. Again, it doesn't look like a whole lot now, but back in the day, there's probably every 2 feet, there was room to sit and or stand. And people coming into the city here, this is where they would have stopped before entering the city. And there's probably a bath somewhere nearby. There's a nice round facility. Oh, it's a dead end. This, I don't know what this would have been. Maybe this is a watchtower that went up. But there's nothing in here. There's no exit, no entrance, so out we go this way. So the latrine is on our right as we're heading here. And this beautiful gate, it actually has some writing in it. It's really hard to see. It looks like they tried to add some red to it to help, but it's kind of hard to read. Let's see if we can see it. So my archaeological sense was right. This was a valley of wall, and people would have walked down through here, at least according to the drawings, but pretty good educated guess. It's 170 meters long, it says. That's a lot of building. Absolutely incredible. You would have come in, gone to the latrine here, and then bathed and continued on into the city to do your business. We're walking towards the northern gate. Thinking the Great Agora is on our right. That's probably why they have the trees here. A lot of this stuff they excavated around. This is oh, these are tombs. Okay, so that's a huge tomb. There's somebody important. Here's an olive press. And here we actually have the olive press. It's not guesswork. It's actual, real works of what's left over of the olive presses. People would have brought their carts packed with olive oil, olives actually. They would have had it pressed here and then put here, and then maybe that was part of their taxation to enter the city. Maybe it was just the way they did it back then. And then sarcophagi off here, which I can't imagine they would have parked the dead bodies right there, but you never know back then. And the main gate. This structure is very massive for the area. We're gonna go see what this is. See a lot of this, how it was buried over time, and they dug it out. So what wasn't destroyed got buried just in detritus. That, I'm guessing there's statues on that. So let's see what this structure is in giant piles of rocks again. The Basilica Bath. This is pretty big. Very, very big. And that looks like it took massive damage. You can see they're doing their best attempts to structure it back up. But you can see how these rocks are just crunched. Whether that was from the earthquake or just the way they got put back. But this was pretty serious big too. We're at the top of the Travertines at Pamukkale, Hierapolis, and here we have sarcophagi that look like they've been there before they solidified as part of the mountain, overlooking the valley. This is outside of the northern gate, up above. What a view. Well, apparently this whole structure was a sarcophagus site, and there's probably still statues on top, but you can see this one was broken into. And there's a chiseling at the seams that there's probably gold or silver, maybe bronze structures that people dug out over the centuries. Tomb robbers. Well, we're just gonna go off-roading here through the grass. There's big fields here, but I got a feeling below ground there's a lot of stuff that they still haven't uncovered. And the trees were planted maybe just to hide it, or maybe just to plant the trees, just to plant trees. We're gonna go see about the Temple of Apollo here in a little bit. And again, we could be walking through a cemetery for all we know. We think that was maybe their cemetery back in the day, so it looked like some right angles of sarcophagi buried, probably for the poor. This, I can't tell if it's original or placed, but it sure has the feeling like it was something here. And it just keeps going up, and that's probably all sarcophagi up there. And this actually might be part of sarcophagi too. Some of the rocks are fairly big. But again, what was placed and what wasn't. I see a foundation. And I know the Temple of Apollo is somewhere around here. I think we'll know it when we get to it. They'll probably have a sign. But this looks functional.
Steps and
So here we have, and we're not going to go over there. It's 200 meters away. But this had to be an old structured temple. We'll look on their map. But we're going to have to be back another time just to see what else. And we'll just keep covering more and more of Hierapolis as we go. But I got a feeling that was the Great Agora, or this is the Great Agora. Usually it's surrounded by columns, but I'm not seeing the bases anywhere. Obviously the columns would be long gone. We're coming up to another gate here. You can see the Great Theater way out there. I feel like we just walked through an ancient building. The latrine is here when you come in. And then there's this. This just feels like it was a building of some sort. Don't know what. I don't see any signs. Your guess is as good as mine. So make sure you click on the video that's up here over the valley next, because that shows what we did last year at Pamukkale, and there's some other Hierapolis videos. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.